It's an honor for Inpex to be invited to the CEDA's Annual Resource Overview. I'm pleased to be here today. I've called Perth home for 14 of the 17 years, and during that time, I really enjoyed the meeting and working with the Noongar people. I take this opportunity to acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the land and waters that are surrounding Perth, and pay my respect to their elders, past and present. So if you indulge me, please, I'd like to take a moment to say a few words about Inpex. I'm participating in 75 projects across 25 countries. Inpex is Japan's largest oil and gas exploration and production company. We have been a proud member of the Australian business community since 1986. The Ichthys LNG project is a jewel in our corporate crown and is being managed from our Australian head office on St. George's Terrace. It represents the largest ever overseas investment by a single Japanese company. What may come as a surprise to some of you is that Perth now is the biggest office in the globe. We are bigger than Inpex headquarters in Tokyo. But I'm not here to speak to you today about Inpex, rather to provide the snapshot of the oil and gas sector and to offer some insight into what the future may hold. As a disclaimer, I should note that the view I express today are my own and do not specifically represent those of Inpex Corporation, because it's very difficult to get endorsement from Tokyo head office. The oil and gas sector is facing challenging time, as you know, at this moment. We are experiencing the cyclical downturn in price that may be with us for some time. Following years are relatively stable. Record high prices, the oil market collapsed by roughly 60% from its June 2014 high above $115 per barrel to around $40 per barrel in August. This, of course, has profound implications for the energy industry. I'll discuss some of these implications shortly, but before I do, I'd like to take a moment to discuss the drivers that have pushed oil price down so rapidly. The simplest answer to why the price of oil has dropped so sharply over the past year comes down to the economies of supply and demand. On the supply side, the latest BP statistical review of world energy reveals the global oversupply energy. The shale revolution in the United States has seen American oil production nearly double over the past 6 years, making the US the world's largest oil producer and net exporter. This in turn has displaced imported oil from historic suppliers. These producers have been forced to compete in other markets. Saudi Arabia has traditionally played the role of swing producer together with its OPEC cartel partners, has maintained production level in spite of the price drop in an effort to protect their market share. As with oil, an oversupply of the gas globally is being driven by US production. LNG cargoes that will historically find the market in the US have been forced elsewhere. 5 American LNG projects are under construction, representing volumes of 73 million tons per annum. That's 30% of today's market. On the demand side, the global economy are generally sluggish. In the EU, primary energy consumption has fallen in absolute terms by 7.6% over the past 5 years, and gas demand dropped to its lowest level since the mid-1990s. The economy of the world, the largest crude oil importer, China, is also slowing. Asian LNG imports fell 4% in the second quarter of this year compared to the same quarter last year. Absolute growth in global primary energy consumption was the lowest since 2001, with the exception of during the global financial crisis. So, what does this low oil price environment mean for the oil and gas sector? For starters, we have been very sharp reaction from the industry. Investment in new projects is down significantly. So Wood Mackenzie estimates the 46 major projects have been deferred globally in response to the price down. So far this year, only 5 major oil and gas projects globally have taken a final investment decision, 2 in Norway, and 1 each in the Gulf of Mexico, UK, and Egypt. Expensive and complex projects are the first to be deferred. Job reduction make a front-page news. Budget having slashed. Discretionary spend is out. And the industry mantra is doing more with less. Exploration spend globally is also down sharply. Many negative news. The current price environment is forcing companies to examine how they do business from now on. Driving operational efficiency and resetting the cost base have become top priority for the industry. Virtually all oil majors have been actively negotiating cost reduction with contractors and suppliers. In spite of the 30% of devaluation of the Aussie dollar against the greenback over the past year, Australia remains a high-cost environment in relative terms. Improvement in productivity is required if Australia is to remain competitive in the oil and gas sector. Industry relation reform is also critical. Reform is also urgently needed in Australia's energy policy. The energy vision for Australia and the policies that follow should be arrived at through a bipartisan process involving extensive consultation with industry, community, and government stakeholders. We must move to a policy-making process that is not vulnerable to election cycle. It must also move beyond populism. For example, the growing trend by state government to impose or consider moratorium on hydraulic fracturing is both misplaced and worrying. Reliability and predictability in policy is essential to promoting investment in the oil and gas sector. In addition to the cost of development, another key factor in determining the viability of new energy projects is the outlook for energy demand. Project proponents need to be confident in the market ability to absorb new capacity. So Wood Mackenzie predicts worldwide energy consumption will more than double in the next 15 years to 524 million tons from 238 million tons last year. Much of this growth is expected to come from new markets. China represents the largest growth market for LNG, followed by India. We also expect to see strong demand out of Southeast Asia, and Middle East. Australia is well placed geophysically to serve this emerging market. While Japan will remain the world's single largest LNG importer, the Japanese demand is expected to grow only modestly to approximately 94.5 million tons by 2013. Today, energy accounts for 46% of Japanese power generation. The demand outlook announced by the Japanese government in July 2015 projects that this will fall to 26% by 2030. This forecast is based on nuclear power supplying 22% of energy to the country. So what does this mean? The oil and gas industry is in a downturn. There is no doubt about that. But it's a cyclical business, and so we can expect price to rebound when the fundamentals stabilize. When this occurs and by how much is, of course, highly subjective. There seems to be some consensus that oil and gas prices are likely to be somewhat higher than in 2016 than they are today. So far, in 2015, the average price has been around 54 US dollars per barrel, and we assume an average price per the barrel of 65 US dollars in 2016, increasing to $70 in 2017, we hope. I'll finish today's discussion by identifying a few opportunities. For starters, the lower oil price is forcing companies to rethink their business model and to make more disciplined business direct decisions. Fit for 50 is a motto we hear occasionally and describe the drive by oil company to ensure their business is profitable at $50 oil price. Companies that drive costs out of the business and rationalize the portfolio will be well positioned in the long term. The current environment is also ripe for merger and acquisition. We've seen some movement in this space already, as you know. And while it may seem counterintuitive, an argument can be made that now is an excellent time to explore. Seismic survey and drill rig costs are down dramatically, and the market window appears to be opening given the scarcity of the project in the pipeline. Finally, opportunities for the collaboration abound last year. Santos Vice President John Anderson was quoted in the media talking about big C collaboration, meaning collaboration that goes beyond reaping operational effectiveness, like sharing the helicopters and supply vessel. Example of the big C collaboration John identified potentially include companies aggregating gas and processing it through facility operated by others, a model that has worked well elsewhere in the world. I fully agree with John's statement. To survive in this very tough business environment will require us to shed fat and to restructure our organization so that they are leaner and meaner. At Inpex, we are ready to enjoy the challenges ahead of us. Thank you very much.